5 qualities that you need to look for or at least explore before you get into business with somebody. How in the heck do you choose a good business partner? What are the things you should be asking your partner before you partner? What kind of values do they have? What kind of work ethic do they have? What's their religious background? Today we're going to talk about all those things. In a nutshell, you want to make sure they have the same shared values. You want to check out complementary skills. What about trust and work ethic? Communication and commitment are important, and discussing the financial and legal responsibilities of each partner or the partnership as a whole. The first thing we're going to talk about is shared vision and value. Do you want the same things? When Jen and I started our real estate business together, we both wanted to be flippers. We would have been at a hard pass if one of us had wanted to renovate and resell and one of us had wanted to hold them for long-term passive income. So that's something you need to discuss. Are you and your potential business partner on the same page in terms of the shared vision? Here's one that's always debatable: complementary skills. A lot of times we think if we're going to be in business with somebody, I'm going to do it with my best friend because she and I are just alike and we're going to go do such and such and such and such. But what you really need for a good partnership is to assess your own strengths and weaknesses, assess the potential partner's strengths and weaknesses, and find out if y'all fill the gaps. So being that I was 25, 30 years older than Jenna, we had to sit down and discuss, what do I bring to the table? I brought wisdom, management skills, the ability to talk to the banks. I had a degree in economics and a background in finance. And Jenna brought those technical skills, today's updated social media skills, I guess you could say, but she had some communication and technical skills that I didn't have. So together, we worked really well together to figure out to complement each other. Here's the biggest one. I'm the spendy partner and she's the frugal partner. And when we work together and respect each other's values, we end up on the same page. We don't spend as much as I'd like to. We spend more than she wants to. But it makes the business work and moves forward at a logical progression. Third on the list is trust and communication. Do you trust your business partner? If they go out and spend $10,000 on something, do you trust that they did it well? So when Jenna and I first started, we were in real estate and we chose to keep a spreadsheet. Nothing got entered onto that spreadsheet if there wasn't a receipt. So if I spent some money, I had to provide her with the receipt. It showed up under my column of expenditures. Same thing for her. And then at the end, we added up, I spent X amount of dollars, she spent X amount of dollars, we sold the house for X amount of dollars, we took out our expenses and then split the profits 50-50. But those are the kind of things you've got to work through. Now that we've been in business together 7 years, we have moved from a partnership agreement, which is where we started, to an LLC together. We own an LLC together. We have a joint bank account together. We run all the money through there. We take care of all the business that way. We have commingled funds. And prior to that, we didn't do that. So those are things you need to think about when you're starting a business with somebody. Are you going to trust that they have the best interest of the business at heart? We always discussed each expenditure as it was, but renovating houses daily, they came up. And at first we were both in town and we just handled it to whoever was available. And then when she moved out of town, I was having to handle all of it, which was okay because she had to do the bookwork then. But I made sure that there were receipts for everything. Nothing was spent that was ever reimbursed to me if there was not a receipt to go with it, and vice versa. And that kind of covers the fourth thing too, which is the legal and financial responsibilities. We were both on all the paperwork for every house that we owned. There was one time when I did not have my taxes filed yet and we needed to make a purchase that the mortgage was in her name only, but the title of the property was in both of our names. So when you get ready to combine assets and do things together, don't do it in the big project to begin with. Do it in the small projects first so that you know if there's a financial issue, somebody, the two of you, are going to work it out fairly to take care of that. Now that we've had a business fail, we've both lost different amounts of money because we were investing at different rates in the current project, but we are recouping those debts because we kept good paperwork. But we set it all up legally and financially. Both of us are responsible. Both of us jointly do well when it does well. Another thing to explore with a possible partner is the work ethic and commitment of each partner. Some of you know we started with a third partner. We loved her, and her work ethic was great, and her commitment was great. But she was a doctor, and she stayed busy. And so we didn't have the potential for her to be as active as we were. And that can cause friction. It did not cause friction with us, but it did make us aware. And it should make you aware. Talk through with your potential business partner who's going to handle the day-to-day operations, who's going to handle the bookwork, who's going to handle going to the bank and talking to them about such and such and so on, who's going to do what. Make sure that y'all are on the same page in terms of work ethic. You both want to work primarily with this business, secondarily with any other businesses, and we've always got other business. Jenna and I always have other businesses going on, but we prioritize the business we have together and the work ethic. Now, we said today on our live, sometimes I'm carrying the ball more, sometimes she's carrying the ball more. Because we trust each other, we can get away with that. But those are things you need to talk about, because you would be resentful if you're doing 90% of the work but having to split 50% of the gain. So you have to work those things out and know those things ahead of time and be comfortable with whatever y'all work out. So like for us, I know that sometimes she's going to do more work. She knows that sometimes I'm going to do more work. But we figure that it balances out in the end, and we're both comfortable with that. But we did have that discussion ahead of time, and you should too. So in conclusion, let's go over those 5 things again. You need to have a shared vision. You need to have the same work ethic. You need to have trust. You need to have complementary skills so that your weaknesses and their strengths work together with each other. And you need to have joint legal and financial responsibility. That you're in it together, you have all those components, you can move forward with that person. Now, one thing I learned when I did a business with somebody else that I had not thought of before then, you got to have an exit strategy. And that's a good thing. So if one partner wants out, you know how you're going to get out. If another partner decides, let's bring on a third partner, you got to exit out of one, enter into another. Have an exit strategy and talk about your exit strategy. If I get tired of doing this business, how are we going to move forward? If you get tired of doing the business, how are we going to move forward? How are we going to dissolve assets? How are we going to do whatever we're going to do? Talk through those things. You don't have to make necessarily any decisions until you're ready to sign a partnership agreement. And by the way, sign a partnership agreement. Start with a partnership agreement, eventually go to an LLC. That's how we did it anyway, and that's worked for us. So I hope that helps you. But listen, drop in the comments anything that you want to say about any partnerships that you've been in, anything I might have missed. I'm sure there's something. That's just the things that we covered. Comments, questions, love to hear more.